Good Monday afternoon and welcome everybody to another edition of the Sports Vision Radio Show. And we're also taping our television show for all of those folks out there that just want to know. I'm DJ Jones alongside my good friend and traveling partner Dale Williams. How are you, sir?
What's up, player?
I'm good, man. How was the weekend?
Great, man. Great. You know, got to watch a lot of baseball, DJ.
Yeah. We got a chance through some wings on the grill.
That's
and
right.
had a chance to
Good job on the wings.
Thank you very kindly. Thank you. It wasn't as dry. I like that dry rub. You like that moist, huh?
Yeah, I like how you cooked them, man. They were pretty good.
All right. Once again, I'd like to say hello to all of our viewers out there in TV land, CTV Beam. Of course, every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, you can catch our television show. And again, every now and then, we like to show what we do in the radio studio as we chop it up. It's just like sitting here with a couple of hot top tables,
That's right.
Have some snacks and some cold ones, and doing our thing. How you doing, Thrill?
Another day, another dollar.
Another day, another dollar. Hey, big ups to Chris who coming in. Of course, Chris Gates from CTV Beam, of course, who makes it happen, makes the TV side happen, and we appreciate everything you do, Chris. We love the way you make us look to our television viewers out there in CTV land. Hey, let me tell you something, Dale. Man, let me tell you something. This coronavirus, like we said last week and the week before, each and every hour of each and every day in each and every week is something different.
It's something different, DJ. And like I said last week, I wasn't trying to be cliche-ish, but you can't control it. You only can contain it. And I think really all the sports in the world today, I mean, you really just can't control it right now, DJ.
Absolutely. And the breaking news as of right now, and we know we just kicked off opening day over the weekend with Major League Baseball, but we've already had a couple of games to be canceled because of the outbreak of coronavirus. 14 players and staff and coaches with the Miami Marlins have broke out with this virus, man, and now they have to cancel the Monday night's game. Tonight's games, of course, they were going to be playing the Orioles in Miami, canceled that game. Also, the Yankees and we're going to be playing the Phillies.
That's right.
Had to cancel that game. So you got a situation here where 14 players, 14 people who probably have been intermingling with some of the opposition in the various clubhouses, in the various stadiums. So that's just 2 games that have been eliminated. Before it's over, before this show airs on Thursday night, we might see a situation where they might call baseball off.
I hope not, DJ, but I think really you might be right there because, again, Miami was a hot spot in the first place. So really to have 14, and that includes the staff and players.
Yeah.
Players to be positively tested today, that's huge. And then the Yankees and the Phillies playing today. I mean, and that was scheduled for TV tonight.
Absolutely.
So really, it's going to be very interesting. And they have an emergency meeting going on as we speak right now.
Well, this shows you again why did they not do the bubble idea that we talked about, doing like the Arizona Summer League and the Florida Summer League they normally do. Why didn't they split both NL and AL up, send one in Arizona, one to Florida, so you can maintain it like the NBA is able to do right now? And now you're about to have a problem where, like DJ said, if it gets out to any other team, it's over with. You have to shut this down. And before you even get started, we've only played 3 games now?
Yeah.
So,
well, Thrift, what you got to understand is that the Players Association has a lot to do with that. And the baseball players, according to what I understand, weren't big on doing that. They weren't big on doing the bubble deal and isolating themselves for the 3-4 months like the NBA. However, again, you just got a situation where, hey, they decided that they wanted to do it this way. And again, you got to know, they had to know that obviously you can't contain this virus, much less when you're talking about flying in and out of these international airports in these different cities, staying in these different hotels and across the country in these different cities, man. And again, now throw that at college football. What's going to be? It's going to be the same thing. No bubble, NFL football, no bubble, flying around, and it's ugly. It's ugly right now, guys.
Well, you look at the big picture, DJ, and you hear the term natural causes. These are not natural causes.
Of course not.
So really, at the same time, you can't stop it. You don't know what to do. So why don't you just take the time to find out what's the cure is going to be, how the vaccine, how to just get a vaccine or something.
So what basically you're saying, just shut everything down?
Shut it down.
Shut everything down.
I mean, because really, we're going to be starting. It's just like you have a car, DJ, and you got a bad battery. And everywhere you go, you might have to get jumped off. Everywhere this coronavirus is,
ain't no jumping off.
Ain't no jumping off.
Ain't no jumping off.
That's the best analogy I can give.
Exactly. I mean, really, it's tough right now. But more importantly, a little closer to home, we know that the high school football situation in Muskogee County and the state of Georgia has been pushed back to the Labor Day. They're going to open up, again, they usually open up the third week of August. They're going to push it back to the Labor Day weekend. Again, that first week, that first Friday in September, which obviously buys a little bit more time, but it's no guarantee at all.
It's no guarantee at all, DJ, but I think really, hats off to the Georgia High School Association. Again, we're going to be in that same situation because really as soon as some positive testing come out and it get rampant, they're going to shut it down.
Hey, okay.
They're going to shut it down. So really, we really don't know. We're on pins and needles whatever we have to do.
Enough of the gloom and doom for right now. Let's get on with the great news. A great loaded show today. An awesome guest. We have, of course, the voice of the Atlanta Braves, and of course, he just happens to be the former national championship quarterback for the Georgia Bulldogs. Buck Ballou, he'll be on. We're going to talk Braves and we're going to talk Bulldogs, Dale, again, because we got some things happening in Athens right now with the quarterbacks. There's a lot of quarterbacks in Athens, and it wasn't this way when Jake Fromm declared for the NFL draft just a couple of months ago. However, we're gonna check. We're gonna tweak or at least pick Buck's brain about that. Also, we have one of the greatest female basketball players of our time, Teresa Edwards, a 4-time Olympic gold medalist, 5-time Olympian. Of course, she is in the FIBA Hall of Fame. She's in the Georgia Sports Hall of Fame. She's in the Women's Sports Hall of Fame. And she's in another Hall of Fame. I mean, she is one of the most decorated players, Deal. And here, we're going to have her on the show. Former Georgia Bulldog at that.
That's right.
Going to have her on the show. Of course, now with the WNBA kicking off this weekend as well, to talk to her about back in the good old days as well as today. Because I was fired up and excited when I saw the product was on the floor this weekend, Deal. The young ladies were not only talented, but they were beautiful and they were fundamentally sound.
They were fundamentally sound, and you can tell they're really become more athletic, when you get to that WNBA level, but really you can see the athleticism, and really they're not boring to sit there and watch them. I mean, really it was very interesting.
Absolutely. I mean, these ladies who go to the hoop with their left or right. They, of course, they dribble with their left and right hand. I mean, obviously it's not anything like you would think, watching women play. As a matter of fact, I enjoy watching the women play because they're so fundamentally sound.
Yes.
And they don't have the high-flying athletic events that they do on the boys' side, but at the same time, that means that they have to work harder at their craft because obviously, they have to be, again, more fun being able to dribble, being able to come off and understand the game as they see it on offense and defense. But just a terrific product, and I'm really proud of how far they've come with the WNBA. Of course, stepping up the game, of course, as far as salaries and accommodations, because just a few years ago, man, you wouldn't believe how these young ladies were living and how little they were making.
I think really Teresa Edwards can give us a great take on what she thinks about the WNBA, because when she was playing WNBA, I think really it was only a few that were as athletic as she was. But like right now, after watching the game, the Sparks and the Suns the other day, the Magic rather, they are very athletic.
Also, as a plethora of young ladies that decided not to play last season that came back. And again, when you look at these rosters, man, all you see are the top names of all the top professional basketball players that we've been seeing out of the top programs over the past year, from UConn to Baylor to, I mean, it's like, it's an all-star squad of, all the top All-Americans, all the top collegiate basketball players from the last 3, 4, 5 years.
I mean, really, the LA Sparks have almost an all-star team, DJ, and I think really I would be surprised if they don't win the WNBA in this short season, but I think it's going to be very interesting. But one thing I can say, the WNBA is not boring to watch anymore.
And I love to watch Skylar Diggins.
Yeah, I know you do.
She's something special. All right, we'll have, of course, Teresa to talk about the women's basketball as well as her illustrious career coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. But, of course, probably in the next 10 minutes or so, we'll have Buck on to talk about the Atlanta Braves. And, of course, they opened up in Dale. They came out looking sluggish. However, it's so early. I know it's only a 60-game season, and we're saying that this is a sprint. However, you know what? For whatever reason, man, the Braves had strikeout-itis.
That's right.
Strikeout-itis. I mean, for the first couple of games, man, they struck out, over 25 times.
25 times. And I got concerned about Ronald Acuna Jr. because really he was either striking out or popping up. But they really, yesterday, they broke out. And, we saw the game when we sat down and watched it on Saturday that they were just missing. The timing wasn't really there yet, but they really showed up and showed out yesterday. 17 hits, 14 runs. Dansby Swanson, he had a great game, 5 RBIs. And my boy, man, he might be okay, DJ. Marcell Ozuna.
Okay, yeah, got the big home run.
Yeah.
But you know what? Baseball is intriguing because baseball is the only sport that you can fail 7 out of 10 times and still be successful.
Well, I mean, 1 out of 3, really. And like I was saying, these guys taking all these pitches and they become so spoiled at the plate. I'm like, DJ, I'm swinging, man. I'm swinging the bat. I mean, I'd rather strike out swinging than just sitting there and getting called out. But really, the Braves, they turned it on a little bit. And I love their lineup. I love the designated hitting piece right now, DJ, and I like the extra inning rule too.
Absolutely, of course, adding the this is something that they got from the what was the travel ball.
The travel ball.
And when you go in extra innings, obviously the team they place a runner on second base.
That's right.
That eliminates all of those extra 9, 5, 7, 10. 10 extra innings, man, all night, so that that puts a fish in the frying pan.
That's right. I mean, I think it speeds the game up, and really, it's I think it's great, but really the addition to having the designated hitters in the National League, that's big, player.
It is big indeed. And check this out now. Again, I'm going to go back to the virus because the COVID-19 is no joke. And when you talk about players and staff and front office people getting contracting the disease, but when you have your head trainer who is also in charge of your infectious disease department as far as representing the league, when he comes down with the virus, you got problems. Again, the Minnesota Vikings, man, I tell you, that's a tough situation. When you talk Eric Sugarman, he's the head trainer, and he's also the infection control director. Each team supposedly has a director. He has contracted the virus, man, and the trainer touches and comes in contact with more players than the coaches. As a matter of fact, they have more of an intimate relationship with the coaches because of the injury situation and treating them in the training room.
Well, again, it's going to be very interesting with the NFL and how they can try to control this thing. And really, for it being testing, you're going to be tested every day for 2 weeks. It's going to be very interesting, and really, maybe just hoping and being optimistic that we can have a football season and all the baseball season. We're hoping for sports to come back, and it's great to see it start back up because I enjoyed this weekend just sitting there watching the game, and the crowd noise kind of fooled me a little bit too, DJ.
Well,
I like that.
It's amazing what they can do with the cameras, obviously, and if you're truly focused on the game, you're not worried about the fans. Obviously, the fans is an element that the players miss, and you miss but realistically, you want to see the game played. Thank God that they're playing the game, and again, you have to give up something to get something, and I could give up the fans in the stand to get what I saw this weekend, and hopefully what's to come.
Yeah, but like I said, man, like I said earlier, man, you can't stop this thing, man. So really, you're almost like you're playing, okay, we're going to play, then knowing in the back of your mind that we might be shut down next week.
But you know what? Let's enjoy it while we can because tomorrow, Tuesday, the rest of the NFL players are expected to report to camp. I'm glad that the NFL Players Association and the owners got their stuff together because there were some things that were left off. I mean, I know a lot of folks didn't, a lot of the players didn't quite understand what the dynamics would be should they contract the virus or if they opted out. But they got that straightened out, and hopefully, we'll have a situation where everybody will show up and everybody will have an opportunity to have a good camp, and we can get off to we're not going to have any preseason games, but we're going to look like we're going to have a football season.
We're going to have a football season, hopefully, and we still hadn't heard from the SEC yet, but we're going to find out whether we're going to have a college football season here in a very short time, probably this week sometime, DJ.
Absolutely. That's as far as what the SEC is going to do. Right. We know that the Big Ten, the Pac-12, and all the other conferences, for the most part, have decided whether they were going to delay or postpone or delay their seasons to a spring, which I happen to like. I like the fact that the Power 5 guys, maybe they have to do it this year, but moving forward, check this out. Now, I want to get this in. Hear me out.
Come on, I'm listening.
You know as well as I do, all the big money and the television contracts are tied up with the Power 5 and all the big conferences, right?
Right.
So what's wrong with the Division II and the black colleges going to a spring schedule? That would free up the airtime so that they could get some contract money and get some, and create some monies and some funds. And again, and also it will extend the football program as we see it, because we're steady bickering and murmuring about spring football, or no football in the spring. So if the second tier football teams, college football teams, moved or shifted their schedules back to the spring. And again, with that said, everybody said, well, how are you going to do that, man? Let's go right. Well, you can just shift the whole. Now, if you're going to make a commitment to this, and obviously if this is worth the dollars and cents that I think it would be, then you would have a right to go ahead and shift all the other sports that follow back so that it will make sense, because football, even on that level, takes care of some of the other sports that are non-revenue generating sports.
Well, I can take that, DJ. I think that will work great, because really one thing we've always been saying, football is year round anyway. We were crying about not having spring football this year, but at the same time, I can go with that. Put the HBCUs, the Division II schools, let them play in the spring, and hey, we roll with it. And the power teams, the power conferences, let them play.
All right, we're going to go ahead and take a short break. You are listening to WRCG 92.1, and you're watching CTV Beam. We'll be right back.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like. I wish I could fix my lips to express how amazing that love truly is. And even though those words may flow beautifully through a melodic tune, there have been far too many unopened conversations to the address of the elephant that is getting comfortable in our living room when it comes to the topic of being black. A simple color that you see in a box of Crayola crayons, the asphalt where we plant our feet, from the cup of coffee that we wish to drink, or a simple arrow planted on a traffic sign that can lead us to our next destination. Yet every day I find it hard people appreciate this color on materialistic objects rather than the color attached to the pigmentation of human faces. Answer me this. When it comes to the American dream, is it based upon breaking metaphorical chains, securing a financial augmentation, a damsel in distress rescued by a hero answering her cry for hope? No. Because this country has given us more nightmares than dreams, especially wondering if our children will ever return home. As a black boy in this country, statistics have shown that our most anticipated moment is receiving a diploma at our high school graduation. But hearing our names across that stage doesn't compare to the words, "Son, it's time you and I have a conversation." To explain the nature of you asking, why did the kids look at me weird on the playground in the 3rd grade? Or why did Jeff and Amy say that they could no longer play with me? In a society built for your anxiety. A crippling nation we live in, and the frustration of being the ones playing the music's sad violins. Now, you're young. I know, and I once found myself in your shoes, 16 and free, where my soul had a right to choose what I wanted to achieve. "What do you want to be when you grow up?" Miss Parker asked. And as she was finishing up to the back of the class, I found myself throwing my right hand up to where it was evident. "The president. I want to be the president." As the class turned slow to me, I realized that no one wanted to address the elephant. That black boys can never be respected in that way. And while it sits back in 83, even today your generation isn't much more free than when I was your age. So son, before I let you have these keys, I must say something. Be cautious. Because even though you are a king, this world will look down on you as if they were better, making you feel like nothing. It'll make you want to scream, accusing you of stealing in the dressing room, asking the passive-aggressive, "May I help you look for anything? May I help you look for something?" And the stare you'll get from the cashier in the gas station when you're just looking for your favorite drink. Son, when you're on that road, think twice about speeding, not using your blinker, or making too long of eye contact with the stranger next to you at the red light. Because while it is your right to be on the road just as much as anyone else, the kids who are white don't have to fear for their lives by men who sit as killers in the skies. If you're pulled over, don't ever look at them directly in the eyes. Keep both hands on the wheel. And though you may feel disrespected, always stay respectful with a yes, sir. Because it's better for you to live and see tomorrow than to be another hashtag that'll occur. So as you lay your head on your pillow, remember this. Though this may be land of the free, the voices that came before you had a price to pay. And though black boy joy may cease, the fear of a black man shall never fade away. So in this country of peaceful protests, fallen angels, and all of the filmed violence, son, may you always hold your peace, but never hold your silence.
Yes, indeed. We're back. Really excited about today's show, Dale. Of course, a couple of great guests, a couple of high-flying, these are iconic guests in the world of sports. When you talk about a Buck Bellew, who was the national championship quarterback for the University of Georgia, who is now he is co-hosting one of the hottest sports talk radio shows in Atlanta, Georgia. 680 The Fan with John Kincaid. He and his partner are approaching 20 years in the business, and I can remember Buck telling us a few years ago that they said, hey, the word was if you could get in 6 or 7 good years, that's a career. But here they are headed toward 20 years, man, with the hottest sports show in Atlanta, and they are well deserving because Buck is good as well as John Kincaid. He is outstanding. He also does the CBS sports talk show on Sunday mornings. So John Kincaid, Buck's partner, co-host on Buck and Kincaid in Atlanta. They do middays in Atlanta.
So that's big right there, but really, hats off to Buck. Buck has always been a good people person in the first place. He knows the game. He knows a lot of people in Atlanta, and really for his, just his personality, it's great for radio, and then he's doing, midday, doing it right in the middle of the day in Atlanta, Georgia. And everybody loves Buck.
Yeah, a lot of folks really have forgotten that Buck, not only was he the national championship quarterback, Buck was also two-time All-SEC baseball player.
That's right.
And he also still is in the record books with the University of Georgia as far as batting. I think he batted over 350 of something like that. But he was also coming out of high school. He was the second-round draft choice of the Chicago White Sox, but he chose to go to Georgia. He played at Georgia, but he started all 4 years in high school for Valdosta High School. And again, now that's where legends are made down there in South Georgia now.
Yeah, when Buck was in high school, Valdosta had a great team, and also Kendrick.
Yes.
Kendrick had a great baseball team. Steve Fuller, Steve was a bad man.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. Yeah. But talking about Buck in his baseball career, not only did he excel and was he a parade All-American in football in high school, but he also pitched the winning championship game in the state state championship game for Valdosta High School coming out. So Buck, man, we forgot more about what Buck has accomplished than most folks can remember.
Really, we have, DJ, but it just goes to show you how versatile we were in college. We had a lot of guys that played football, played baseball also, and we used to always want to play against the baseball team and just see how we could do. But I was like, I think I could hit this dude right here.
Yes, indeed. I tell you what, a lot of dual sport athletes, or at least multi-sport athletes that came through today. And again, today, I don't know what's going on, Dale. It's not as many. Everybody wants to, what's the word that they're using now, Thrift? They just want to play one sport. They want to specialize in one sport. I guess that's it, specialize.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is this. You know what? The more sports you played, the more fun I had. Again, it showed your versatility. And also it gives your body a rest because you use different muscles when you're playing football and when you're playing basketball and when you're playing baseball. And again, it's just a great sense of accomplishment when you know that you can use your athletic ability and you're able to be pretty good at more than one thing.
Well, I've always been a proponent of just from a parent standpoint of making your kids play more than one sport.
It's a great opportunity for us, Dale,
boys or girls,
to talk to a Buck with that because obviously he was a multi-sports guy, and then he's raising 2 boys right now, two small sons. And what's his attitude with regards to multiple sports? Because I know a lot of people have problems with that, now, and maybe not necessarily the parents, but again, a lot of the coaches are thinking now that you should be specialized.
But the college coaches, and you see a majority of them, especially Urban Meyer, he wants to know that you're playing multiple sports. And you're playing different sports, they all combine with each other and they feed off each other. If you play football, that physicality is going to transfer to basketball, make you a better basketball player. Playing basketball and getting your feet quicker can help you be a better football player. They go hand in hand. So why focus on one sport when you could have majority of many options to have, and you're limiting yourself to only one sport?
And just getting bored. Obviously with me, it was just the refreshing idea just to know that, hey, I'm going to play basketball, I'm going to play football, I'm going to play baseball, I'm going to run track when I can. It was just a great opportunity to help not only your school, but it was just the competitive nature in your heart. and in your soul that when you go out and compete at the highest level. And again, that was just something about it. And you know what? When you have an opportunity to compete, Dale, that gives you that transfers over into your lifestyle, and as you mature, you know how when you get down, you're not out. And I don't even want to get into the coach speak because
but really, the bottom line is this: even just from sports, we're always talking about the sports piece, but at the same time, just because you're playing multiple sports, it can help you tremendously when you get through playing sports because you can get along with people. You got great work ethic. That's the kind of people that the human resource people and people in corporate America, those kind of people they want to hire.
Absolutely. And then when we're talking about Buck, and of course having him on in just a few minutes, but in the 5 o'clock hour, Teresa Edwards, for you folks out there who don't know who Teresa Edwards is, Google her. Just go ahead and Google her. Teresa Edwards, so you'll see that she is one of the most credentialed, one of the most acclaimed basketball players, female basketball players, not just female, basketball players in the history of the sport, because obviously coming into the University of Georgia, Dale, when she did in 1982 after coming out of Cairo High School.
Cairo, Georgia.
And she was a terror. But here she was the youngest member of the Olympic team. She was on 5 Olympic teams. She made her first one, and while she was at Georgia, she was just 20 years old. And again, having the opportunity to win 4 gold medals and to appear in 5 Olympics. Now, she played in the ABL, she played in the Wnba, and she also played overseas in Europe as far as professional basketball is concerned. And she was playing overseas obviously before it was fashionable. Again, back in the early days of the WNBA, the ABL. But Teresa is very accomplished. I can remember her coming on campus back in 1982, her freshman year, which was my junior year. And back then we worked out at the Coliseum. We didn't have the big, elaborate, nice the facilities that they have now, but we all had our little weight room, and the gym was all in the Coliseum. And getting on that stage, you remember that stage right there?
Right there.
They had a couple of basketball courts, hoop courts up there.
That's right.
I had the opportunity of playing this young lady in one-on-one basketball her freshman year, and you better believe I had to give it everything I had. Yeah. This young lady could play.
Well, really, she could go down. I'm probably overrating her, but I think DJ, I can honestly say that she might be the best ever legendary lady basketball player or athlete at the University of Georgia. You can name a lot of them.
That's not overrated. That's not over. She's in the conversation with the best, period.
Yes.
Period.
Yeah. She's in the Ring of Honor.
Yeah. No doubt. She's in 4 Hall of Fames.
Olympic gold medal winner.
Yes, sir. You're telling me. And again, we'll have an opportunity to pick her brain and just see, of course, to have her walk us down memory lane as well. And looking forward to, of course, talking about what she's doing now. I know that she's a motivational speaker. She's got her hands in everything. And I know when, every person in sports wants to interview her, and she just stays busy. But her bright personality, what I remember, that beautiful smile and great personality, very articulate young lady.
Yeah.
Always has been, and again, always has remained the same. You would never think that a 4-time gold medal winner, a lady who has obviously been mentioned as one of the best in her sport.
Yes.
Being so humble and so down to earth, but that goes back to those roots of Cairo, Georgia.
Cairo, Georgia, man. And I gotta ask her about her best Andy Lander story.
Wow.
Because Andy was special.
Yes,
you know that, right?
Yes, no doubt. We were with Andy for the most part from 1980 when he coached there until he left. I know.
That's right.
He left much later than after we left, but we were there when he first got to Georgia, and we could appreciate what he was building because in those early days, Dale, he had some hell of a teams.
Oh yeah, he had some, and he had great players. I was like, how can this guy be so intense in coaching young ladies? And he was getting top recruits from everywhere.
Yeah. You go back to those 80s, man, and those early 80s, again, from the Janet Bakers of the world, and don't get me trying to name names.
Bernadette Lockett.
Oh, yeah. That was another great one. Yeah. Another great one. She's now in the coaching field. Now, she's coaching. It was coaching at Kentucky.
That's right.
Is coaching somewhere now, but, man, what a great opportunity for us
legacy.
To have opportunity to talk with one of the true legends in our time. Of course, you're talking about Teresa Edwards. Dale, we got training camp coming up tomorrow, and, again, I know that, obviously, with this most recent outbreak with the Marlins, you know that the NFL people have to have their eyes on the Major League Baseball situation. And you talk about 14 members of the Miami Marlins, players and staff and coaches, 2 coaches that have succumbed to COVID-19. So, it's you want to think positive, but at the same time, and I know that the NFL people are excited about going in, but they're going to be facing the same consequences because they are not in a bubble. They are out and exposed, and they're flying out of different airports, staying in different hotels.
Yeah.
Their players are going home and coming back to the facilities. So it's going to be a little different.
It's just like nursing a bad injury, DJ. You know, you can stay off of it for a week and maybe it'll get well. But you know, if you continue to play on it or you continue to play with this pandemic out here, that something good is not going to happen. I mean, you're going to continue to it's going to get worse until you find a cure. Yes, it's going to get worse because really you continue to contaminate people and at that rate. You're talking about 14 players, and really, DJ, it might be just 30 on the Marlins staff.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But again, this kind of thing when you talk about the numbers, as great as these numbers are, 14 people that are in your organization that have contracted the virus. That's deep. That is real deep.
That's real. I mean,
tell you, it's really, really touching when you think about what's going on. Without further ado, let's go to the phone lines and welcome in our former teammate from the University of Georgia, and of course, he is the co-host of one of the hottest. No, not one of the hottest, the hottest sports talk show in Atlanta, 680 The Fan with Buck and Kincaid. Welcome to the show, Buck. How you doing, man?
What's up, player?
Man, DJ, what's going on, guys? Good to be with you.
Hey, man, I tell you what, it's good to be with you too, but Buck, right off the bat, man, 14 positive tests with the Marlins already. We just started. We just opened up the Major League Baseball season, man.
Yeah, it's a little bit crazy, and I don't have a lot of confidence in this commissioner leading the way after what happened. Really, nothing happened to the Astros for a cheating scandal, so I'm a little concerned about Manfred and the direction and leadership overall as we deal with this kind of thing. But they were just in town last week, so we're hoping, we weren't hanging out too close together.
Yeah,
but certainly the top story out there in baseball today is those guys at the alternate training site where those 30 other minor league players basically are working out. They're getting excited. They're thinking maybe they got a shot to play a little bit here.
Yeah, already Buck, Orioles and the Marlins canceled tonight. Yankees and the Phillies canceled. How is that? What's your opinion with regards to, where we are with this situation now? Again, this is just in the last 48 hours. Now, again, we don't know how or when that these folks contracted the virus. So there's a lot of other entities involved with this, man.
Well, I just hope they weren't hanging out with Lou Williams over at Magic City.
Now, that's another story for a little bit later.
Yeah, I thought you were probably going to ask me about that next, so I thought I'd go ahead and get it in there. I mean, Lou's saying those lemon pepper wings, they don't get any better than what they're serving up over there. But seriously, it is a concern, obviously, and as we get started, I sort of expected we would see a little of this, but they've been smart enough to, have the top prospects and the AA and AAA guys working out at a different site, all the major league teams. So you can patch it up a little bit, but, if you're talking about big numbers here, it's going to be hard to patch that up. But I guarantee you one thing, the Marlins, nobody's expecting them to win anyway.
True. But when you talk about even prior to this recent outbreak, when you had Eric Young opting out, the first base coach, and Markakis, of course, opting out, and several other folks, how much of an impact did you think that those players and that coach, first base coach, would that have on the overall performance of the Braves?
Well, I'm just more than a little bit shocked that we hadn't seen more. We've seen Buster Posey, legend here, especially in South Georgia, Buster Posey opting out. And look, he's got a young family. You got players that wife is pregnant right now, and you can certainly understand why a guy like that with some of those conditions would go ahead and opt out of this mini season right now. I expected to see maybe more of it. I'm a little surprised we hadn't seen more of it. Markakis, he's toward the end of his career. Plenty of money in the bank. You can see why some of these guys would opt out. But I tell you, I don't have any ill feelings toward any of them. I think the way you should be looking at this is everybody needs to make their own personal decision, much like school right now with the kids. If you don't feel comfortable, then you've got an online option. But, more power to them for having that opportunity to make their own decision.
Buck, when you talk about Freddie Freeman, man, what a miraculous comeback, because I wasn't expecting him to be back until sometime in August.
Yeah, and right now it looks like he's dropped 20 pounds. They're saying he's about the same, really, but he's lean and trim. And it's waiting on him to get some good pitches to hit. I tell you what I'm excited about, though, is the Puig thing was disappointing. I thought he could have helped us, before he tested positive for the Rona. But I really like Matt Adams, who is a left-handed power hitting option at the DH, playing in Truist Park here, where you got that short right field porch. He's going to do some damage. And you've got Ozuna hitting cleanup that's coming out raking. So I think we're in good shape protecting Freddie in the lineup and hopefully getting him some pitches to hit. Those two guys, I'm really excited about their presence in this Braves lineup.
Buck, I want you to put your parent hat on right now, because really, and I want to allude to the Georgia High School Association saying, okay, we're going to push back the high school football season 2 weeks and going to start it Labor Day weekend. What is your parental take on the kids playing football and being tested during this coronavirus piece?
Well, I believe that we're starting it up too soon anyway. My goodness, seems like it's too hot to be putting on those pads, early on. So I'm all for pushing it back a little bit. Whether that helps as far as the positive test and all that kind of thing, it's probably a stretch to think that it's going to be better off 2 weeks down the road. But, I'm all for it. I think we got plenty of time here in the fall into the winter to get the season in. I think the people in charge are trying to be safe, but really focused on giving these kids a chance to go out and compete this season.
Buck, as the father of two young studs, young athletes, man. Obviously, when you talk about, when Dale and I were talking about this a little earlier, having an opportunity to participate in multiple sports really was a benefit for us in high school. Of course, competing in football, baseball, basketball, and track. And we know you being a dual sport or multi-sports athlete in high school. What are you teaching and what are you laying out? What's the groundwork you're laying out for your kids?
Well, yeah, we want them playing multiple sports at this point in time, and look, going to find some resistance. When I was playing baseball and football at Georgia, I met resistance on both sides. Not a lot of it, but I certainly, heard some of it from both ends. So, look, you got to stay strong in your convictions. I just think it's too early to really focus in on one sport and do that year round. I just got bored thinking about doing that. I needed a change of sport about every 4 months to keep it fresh and keep me motivated. But I'm one of those that want to see these kids play multiple sports into high school and get that opportunity to do so.
Buck, a lot of folks really, for those who don't remember, I did, of course, a little research. I had to go back. I didn't realize that you were taken in the second round out of high school by the White Sox, and obviously you decided to go to University of Georgia. But the fact that you started all 4 years at Valdosta, now that I didn't realize that. I mean, how did you pull that off? Obviously, being fresh out of middle school and taking on the chores of leading a high school powerhouse as a freshman, 14, 15 years old, maybe.
Well, I was telling my oldest son just the other day, look, you're way better than I was in ninth grade, going into ninth grade. Look, we had a guy quit and a guy get hurt, and then they said, "Blue, you're the only one left. You're going to have to take the snaps." And I was the worst quarterback in the region. It was embarrassing. They were putting for sale signs out in our front yard. My dad didn't take it lightly. He was stomping out there, ripping them out of the ground. How dare them put these for sale signs out there in our yard? I happened to snicker, looking out the bedroom window at that. But it was a harsh reality that I had to learn some important life lessons at that point in time, and I was terrible, and there was a lot of improvement to make, and it's just such a good memory to look back and think the next year we were 10-2 and back in the playoffs and back on track. You learn the work ethic part of the deal. You gotta love it, and then if you love it, you don't mind working hard.
All right, but let's switch gears to college football. With the Big Ten and the Pac-12 saying that they're going to play conference plus one, and the SEC hadn't made a decision yet. What is your take on the SEC, and will we see some college football this spring? I mean,
Well,
excuse me,
yeah,
this
there are
fall.
multiple plans out there. I think the most likely thing is we're going to see conference only +1, where you can maintain the Georgia Tech rivalry at the end of the year. Behind door number 2, it might be expanding the conference schedule to include 1 or maybe 2 more SEC games in a conference only format. After all, the Big Ten's playing 9 of them, so we don't want to look bad down here in the SEC. I think, behind door number 3, you got a lot of people that just don't want to see college football right now and going to be heavily critical of a decision to do so. But got a lot of bills to pay, and I do believe that they can hunker these college players down in a pretty good umbrella there on campus.
Yeah, Buck, one thing is for sure is that I have seen some silver linings in the dark cloud. Now, let's get beyond this year. Let's go into maybe a year or 2 from now. What has come to me to make sense to me is that obviously the Power 5 conference is the big boys that have of course the fall lockdown with all of the television contracts and all the big money locked down. Well, what's the next level of the Division 2s, the black colleges, moving their schedule to the spring? And I know we're always bickering after the fall season is done. We're talking about we don't have any football, we miss football. How about giving these smaller programs an opportunity to have their way or their say with the TV contracts and making a little money? For some reason, Buck, and again, is it just me? But that sounds good for the second-tier programs to have an opportunity to play college football on television in the spring.
Well, I do believe, right now in our culture, our society, it's time for a change. You can feel it in the air right now. Now's the time to make some of these changes that would be right. And look, these smaller schools are going to take a huge hit here, not being able to play these Power 5 schools, and that finances the whole program, which touch so many student athletes that won't get the opportunity to do that at the college level. So I'm for whatever helps the small colleges to help them survive. These are scary times right now for them.
Absolutely. If you're just joining us, we have with us, of course, University of Georgia great Buck Bellew. He is also the co-host of one of the hottest sports. I keep saying one of the, but you are the hottest as far as we're concerned.
That's just the longest.
I mean, approaching 20 years, Buck. I know. Again, we always ask you to tell this story, man. But it's very, very insightful when you say when you first started the show, you and Kincaid almost 2 decades ago. When you first started, they said 6-7 years would be a great run.
Yeah, we're coming up on as we hit September 1st. It'll be 20 years.
Wow, that is awesome.
Yeah, they told us. I inquired about that the day they hired us at one of these fancy restaurants around Atlanta. They hadn't taken us back in the 20 years yet, though. But that first day, I'd say that breakfast at the Ritz was way beyond anything this Valdosta kid's ever seen. But I did ask that question to the owner. What would he consider a good run for the show, and he didn't hesitate when he said 5 years. So we've been so blessed just to be a part of the sports scene here in Atlanta. This is a dream come true for me. Growing up in Valdosta, dreaming of a chance to live in Atlanta and see the Hawks, the Falcons, college football, some melting pot here. A mixture of all kind of ACC and SEC graduates have settled in here to Metro Atlanta. So it's been fun. Most of the time, it doesn't seem like work.
Look like we've lost you. Are you still there, Buck?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. Lost your signal there for a minute.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem like work most of the time. Now, we've had nothing to talk about for 4 months, so we're excited about the Braves getting underway.
Now, when people see you now, Buck, obviously 20 years, and, of course, this iconic sports broadcasting legend, sports talk show legend now, but they didn't understand where all this started. Now, we talked about all of the accolades, of course, winning the national championship and being a state championship quarterback and baseball player being drafted. But let's take them back to the early days, Buck, when you had to do your thing down in Savannah and that led to these opportunities.
Well, I think what really got it started, right, was being on the University of Georgia radio station, doing a little talk show once a week, and had a lot of fun with that, and some of the guys coming on to hang out. They didn't at the time. They didn't have sports talk radio, but that's where it really got started, right there on campus, doing this on a Sunday night every week for a little bit of time. So that certainly helped, man. The TV thing came in Savannah after I had already gotten out of the coaching business, and I thought it was time to get in the business world, and sold some property and casualty, and I was in the sugar business for a little bit, and I just woke up one day and said, man, I got to get back involved in this broadcasting thing, and I've just been blessed to be able to do it ever since. So, yeah, it's been fun.
Hey, Buck, we would be remiss if we didn't talk a little bit about Georgia football. Talk to us about what's your take this year on Georgia football, even with all these quarterbacks coming into camp. Talk to us about Georgia.
I'm waiting to see if we're going to really run that air raid offense, guys. Where you go with that 10 personnel group, which, as you know, is one running back and no tight ends, and that means you've got 4 wide out there, twins to the left, twins to the right, or maybe you're going to have trips to the right and that single receiver to the left, or maybe you're going to put a tight end out there and flex him like a receiver, like this big Washington kid. I think the jury's out on how much of the real air raid we're going to see. I don't think Kirby knows how it's going to look right now. Spread the field to run it. In the air raid, you spread the field, and your run game's that short passing game. So I can't wait to see that. We need some of these freshman receivers to step out, and I think Wnba, from what I understand, has made a good positive first impression. And keep an eye on this Jermaine Burton, who is a very polished receiver, freshman in this class. Burton and Wnba seem to have made a pretty good first impression. So you're going to play 4 wide, you better have about 6, 7 receivers that you think can go out there and make plays, taking the field for you. Otherwise, you should be running the football probably.
But not only are you looking for some answers as far as in the offensive room, meeting room, when you talk about players, but we got a lot of new personalities with as far as the coaches. We got a new coordinator, got a new quarterback coach, and a new play caller. I mean, all of this stuff is great, but they hadn't been able to get together, to get the reps in, to get the chemistry, and it's going to be interesting. I know there's a lot of high expectations should we do get off with a decent football season, but missing all of that time and missing all of those opportunities to get chemistry, that's got to be a factor. And with you being a quarterback, just give me your opinion on how you think it's going to play out.
Well, Jamie Newman's got a little bit of a head start. At least he knows these guys, and he's been doing some 7-on-7 work with them since he's been on campus during the, both before and then after the shutdown. So JT Daniels is coming in, and, he's introducing himself to everybody, really. And he hadn't been cleared, as I understand it, with his knee surgery that he had last year. I think he's just running straight line stuff as far as running, but looking to get cleared before practice starts. So I think Newman's got a little bit of an advantage. They can certainly, if Alabama's the season opener, they can certainly line up and run that read option with Jamie Newman in there. That's what he does best. I know he came to Georgia to learn more about the passing game and improve his status there, but he can run it at 6'4", 240. I want to see him take advantage of that with a dual threat quarterback, maybe put a few more points on the board. But JT Daniels is a really good player. He runs that RPO thing. You saw Burrow lighting people up last year. JT Daniels sort of reminds me of very comfortable doing what Burrow did at LSU.
Buck, you're in that area, the Atlanta market and close to the University of Georgia. When it comes down to recruiting, there's been a big question mark on recruiting for the 2021 class. Georgia in the last couple of years have been like 1 or 2 in recruiting. But we looked at a ranking last week, and Georgia's like 13th in recruiting. Talk to us about that, and what do you think the reasons are?
Well, I guess the Zoom recruiting isn't going as well as they had planned it to, doing that virtual recruiting. Kirby's more effective in front of these kids, I guess. Look, Alabama's been killing it, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, goodness, here over the last month, I think they've signed or gotten 9 verbal commitments from 4- and 5-star guys. So they've been lighting it up. Here, Georgia's got some guys that just hadn't verbally committed yet, but they're in on a lot of these top-rated players in the state. And I think you're going to expect to see them close pretty good. It's sort of a conversation right now. But as we get closer to signing day, I think you'll see Georgia elevate and get a lot of these big commitments that are still out there. Most of these top guys, they want want to wait to the last minute so they can get as much publicity for their brand. You know how that works.
Absolutely, absolutely. Buck, you've been really generous with your time, and the last question I want to ask you, I want to take it back to the Braves, and obviously based on what you've seen, the little bit that you've seen, do you feel that this 60-game sprint for the MLB championship, do you feel that the Braves have just as good a chance as anybody?
Well, look, you got the Yankees and Dodgers, right? And everybody sort of expects them, even Vegas, to be the teams we'll see at the end playing in the World Series. You got that second tier where the Braves are mentioned, it seems like, much of the time in that second tier. So, look, we got a chance. We've got a shot here. I tell you what I do like. I like that new rule in extra innings where you start the inning with that runner on second and scoring position. I've suddenly turned a new leaf on that one.
Yes.
We're 1-0. I like the rule now.
Absolutely. Buck, we appreciate you as always, big guy, and we certainly look forward to talking to you real soon.
Sounds good, guys.
Take care, man.
All right, player.
Bus is coming in 10 minutes. Come eat breakfast.
Hey, watch the homework.
Do you know if it's supposed to rain?
Where's my gray hat?
Where did you leave it?
It's your body.
What time does practice end today?
I like that headband. It really makes a statement.
Are you gonna wear this to work? Let's go, bus is here.
Liberty Utilities natural gas. So reliable, you'll forget we're there.
Imagine a life-changing injury. Imagine the fear and unknown. The Houston Clinic Sports Medicine Team, the only physicians in the area with advanced certification in orthopedic sports medicine, treats sports injuries with innovative techniques. The Houston Clinic has helped nearly 1 million athletes live without pain. Imagine getting back in the game. Imagine the best game of your life. The Houston Clinic Sports Medicine Team.
It started with a few smaller bills. $50 here,
$80,
$100. I had good health insurance.
Why isn't this covered?
Well, then they started getting bigger. $800.
$1,800.
I saved for this.
But not that much.
I'm glad I had Aflac.
They gave me money when I needed it most.
That's why Aflac is here, to help with the expenses health insurance doesn't cover.
I love that Aflac duck.
Aflac! Get to know us at aflac.com.
Should planning your travel be more stressful than staying at home? Of course not. Here at Lumpkin Travel, our VIP service makes traveling easy and fun.
Girls Trip!
We've helped serve thousands of people and families experience their dream vacation by taking the hassle out of travel.
Thank you.
We book your flight, reserve your hotel, and make sure you have a stress-free vacation so you can enjoy every moment of it.
Thank you.
We even help you choose different activities that you're guaranteed to enjoy. And the best part is, we find you the best price at no extra charge for you. Actually, 95% of customers save money and time by booking with Lumpkin Travel. So start thinking about your dream vacation. Wherever you want to go, whatever you want to do, we'll make it happen for you. As easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today or log on and set up your vacation of a lifetime with Lumpkin Travel, your travel agent for life.
E&S Men's Clothing Warehouse has been your most trusted name in men's fashion for more than 50 years. We've offered the area's best selection of top quality, name brand suits, accessories, and casual wear at the most competitive prices around. Customer service is our top priority. We're the professionals generations have trusted for the best quality and absolutely the best deals. We are E&S Men's Clothing Warehouse. We are simply the best.
Come into Chester's Barbecue for our world-famous mouth-watering ribs, smoked fresh on our grill daily. Or try one of our barbecue pork plates with fresh sides. Chester's has delicious sandwich combos to choose from that are sure to please. We also serve tempting home-cooked favorites. And don't forget to take home your own bottle of great sauce. Chester's Barbecue, serving the best food at the best price, with 3 locations to serve you.
Hey, my name is George, and I love the Chick-fil-A grilled nuggets. It's like me grilling at home. It tastes very similar to that, except the seasoning. I probably can't season it as well as Chick-fil-A does. The chicken's super tender, and honestly, the best nuggets I've ever tasted.
My name is Meredith, and a little thing I love about Chick-fil-A's mac and cheese is the oven-toasted, cheesy top layer. If home had a flavor, it would be Chick-fil-A's mac and cheese. I'm passionate about it.
Gear up for fall at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
People know Aflac, but not what they do. So we're answering their questions.
Aflac is auto insurance, right?
No.
Is it homeowner's insurance?
No.
Is it duck insurance?
Nope.
Do they pay me money directly when I get sick or injured?
Yeah. Aflac. You got it. You know Aflac.
Boom.
Get help with expenses health insurance doesn't cover. Get to know us at aflac.com.
All right, without further ado, another one of our outstanding guests today. She is, in my mind, she is one of the best female athletes, that's right, not just basketball player, female athletes in the history of athletics. In our time, Dale, we're Bulldogs, and I know when the other Bulldogs out there, when you mention this name, your ears perk up. Welcome to the show, Teresa Edwards. How are you?
I'm good. Is this DJ?
This is DJ and Dale. That's right.
How you
doing? DJ and Dale.
How are you?
Thanks for having me, guys.
Wow. Where are your gold medals?
Oh man, they're everywhere right now. I don't even know. I don't even think of, you guys. I'm so old now. I don't even think about them anymore. That's really pretty old, isn't it?
Listen at you. Now, boy, I tell you. But no, we're excited to have you on. I know we talk about you all the time, and of course, we've been in business with the television show and the radio show, and of course, the events company for 16 years, and having the opportunity to represent the University of Georgia, to represent our hometown, and again, the athletes that we played with and been a part of our lives. We brag about you all the time. I want you to know that.
Thank you for keeping me alive out there. I hear you.
Look, the pride and joy of the K-Roll syrup makers. How about that?
Oh, my God. You're making my K-Roll people really happy right now. You're right. The syrup makers and syrup made.
That's right. That's right. Teresa, you have done what not many have done. Now, obviously, being a part of 4 Olympic gold medals. You played in the ABL as well as the WNBA. You played over in Europe. You were one of the youngest ever Olympians at 20 years old, your first Olympics. Man, I tell you, what are you most proud of? I mean, you're 2-time All-American at the University of Georgia. You were all everything with the syrup makers. What are you most proud of?
Well, I'm a simple person, honestly. I'm South Georgia kid. So I think what I'm most proud of is being blessed with the mother I've had and that I do have, and the way she raised me in that country town I grew up in, and being able to leave that little small town and be somewhat of pertinence at the University of Georgia, meeting Andy Landers, man, it's life-changing for me. I grew up really fast, and then the world came. My basketball world grew tremendously when I left Georgia, and it was really due to the fact that I had gone through Andy Landers' school,
Teresa, you just mentioned it, Andy Landers. You got to tell me, I love Coach Landers. I mean, he used to coach you all as hard as I've ever seen some ladies being coached.
Just believe it.
Yeah. And tell me your best Andy Landers story.
Oh man, I got too many of those. But one of my favorite. You guys remember Janet Harris, right?
Of course, yes.
Chi-Town's own Janet Harris she really was the one put us on the map, and she's a year ahead of me. And Janet was that kid that coach used to go at so hard. We'd have a circle every practice, and if he was yelling at Janet about a classroom or anything, I was like, oh wow, good, better Janet than me. But one day he decided to make an example out of Janet. Well, actually, for Katrina McClain, and what he did was he ran up to hit Janet to prove to Katrina that she needed to stop being a candy button. You guys know how he used to yell a lot. And Janet, she held herself, and she was grounded to the floor, as soon as he touched again, came her direction, I mean, he went straight to the floor. And first of all, we were like, I'm inside going, yes. Katrina's like, good for you. And Janet's looking up there like, I've been waiting on this for I don't know how many. I've been waiting on this day forever. I mean, and Coach Landers was intense. He was very intense, man.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. You know what? I got a story that, I tell this story often. You know, when you came in as a freshman, and you remember the old Stegman Coliseum with the stage on there, with the basketball court up on the stage there where you guys used to work out?
Man, it broke my heart that it's not there anymore.
Exactly. Well, somehow, some way, I ended up playing you one-on-one. And, again, I knew I had read all your clippings, and I knew about, this Teresa Edwards, young lady coming in from Cairo, was the best thing since sliced bread. But, it took me, I had to, you know what? You almost beat me in one-on-one again. And again, I prided myself on being a pretty doggone good basketball player, baseball player, football player. But you know what? I had to bring my A game, girl. You had it going on, and you earned my respect then.
I appreciate that. You're the only man alive that can actually say I didn't beat you. So I don't. Obviously, I have selective memory. I don't remember that.
Yeah. But listen, out of all, like I said, we mentioned it all. All the Olympics places that you've been, the leagues that you've played in, the lives that you've touched. Let's let everybody know what you got going on now.
Oh, I'm doing a lot. I'm very, very happy to be in a place where I truly enjoy writing. I'm here in New York. I teach PE and fitness and coach. Trying to do it all right now, but I work at a very, very, very elite, very good, beautiful school that my first year into Trinity High School here in Manhattan, and it's an amazing experience for me. But beyond that, I've been writing. I've written a poetry. It's more like a sports legend poetry book that I self-published, but I'm very, very excited about my next project, which is titled Black Gold for now, is coming out with Amazon, and we're probably just going to wait on the coattail of the Olympics. It would have come out, it would have been out now, but the Olympics being canceled due to the virus. And this pandemic we're all dealing with, that, it'll come out next year sometimes. But so writing has definitely become something really big. It's a way to tell our stories. It's a way to tell women in sports stories. I think that's probably one of the few markets left that hasn't been truly tapped into, is all the story that women have to tell these days. A lot of women's sports legends. So I would like to be a part of a lot of women's stories being told.
Wonderful. Teresa, I know, again, we go back with regards to you having the opportunity to play in several of the professional women's leagues and as well as overseas. But talk to me about how excited and how proud you are of how far the business has come with regards to pay and accommodations and taking care of these young ladies as far as the WNBA is concerned.
Well, I'm very, very excited that we do have a pro league because, again, like you said, when I came out of college, all we had was an opportunity to go abroad and to play professional. And, it didn't take much, to offer us to get on a plane and say, hey, of course I'll go play. So I spent my first couple of years in Italy and another 4 years after Italy and Japan, and then I kind of went back to Europe. But every year that I traveled abroad to play professionally, once I left the University of Georgia, all I did was crave an opportunity to be a professional player here in the United States. So just to be alive, be a part of it, to watch it grow, to just have, pave the pavement, just be a part of history, and the young girls and what they have today, and what they can engulf themselves into with their families enjoying them and being paid to have a career in sports or professional sports here. It's huge, and I think this generation really don't know how huge it is because they're born into it, which is okay by me because, I'm really proud of the fact that we've grown. The game has grown. Women have grown. The professionalism is there, and it's just now for them to keep it. And it's a new generation that has to rise up and make sure that it just continues to grow. I think there's a lot of growth that needs to take place around it, but it's here, and I'm very proud of that.
Let's stay right there, Teresa, from the WNBA standpoint. For the growth, and you're a historian. You know how it used to be, and there wasn't a WNBA. Talk to us again about how important it is for the girls to make the not girls, but ladies to make the transition now to the WNBA, and the things that you had to go through that they don't have to go through right now for as pay, and if you were the commissioner of the WNBA, what changes would you make?
Oh, that's a big question. I think we've come a long ways, as I've stated, but I think you have to understand as a female athlete in America that just existing is not enough. Knowing the history of how far we have to come. My history was, when I played, was I knew that there had been women that hid themselves and played, women that wore skirts and played, women that couldn't go 5-on-5 or run full court. I knew that these women that came before me. I knew the few African-American women that played at the national level, at the international level. I knew those women, and when I get an opportunity, I always pay homage to those women that came before me, because I'm so, the Miriam Washingtons, even the Vivian Stringers, the coaches, the few African-American coaches that have just stood the test of time and been successful. And I'm so proud of people like Dawn Staley. That's my girl. I mean, she's done great things, and as a player and now as a coach, I think just knowing your history and knowing how much it took to get to where we are, and then look where the men are and just know how far we have to go. I think the young ladies that are playing today have to recognize that, and we have to continue to support them. We have to continue to guide them, and they have to continue to walk out in faith and without fear, and to go for their dreams, because those dreams that embedded in us were not just somebody else's dream that was put there before we were born, and we have to live through those things, because I think basketball was a gift that I was born with, and I don't know how to settle for something less than what God puts in front of me that tells me that I can get. So I mean, it says a lot. I'm trying to say a lot because I know we're on the radio, but my heart and soul is in women athletics. My spirit is there. The joy in my life has been basketball. I've been blessed through it, and I would love to see other young girls get the same opportunity.
If you just join us, we have the greatest basketball player that I know of my time, and I know, Teresa, you are so humbled and you're just so grounded. But in this day and time of obviously documentaries, and we just saw Michael Jordan's Last Dance. We've seen a number of documentaries with athletes of sort, but. I think, and again, maybe it's already in motion. I know you're in New York, and there's a lot of things happening there in New York, but has there been anybody to approach you with the opportunities to possibly document your life and retell your story?
Absolutely. I've been very blessed. I'm actually talking to a few people right now as you speak. It's funny you say that. I think, Tom, the life slowing down through this process gives us an opportunity to revisit things that probably life was going so fast at one time. But yes, the documentary is in the works. We're talking, doing all the paperwork so that we can hit the ground running on that as soon as possible. Thanks for asking.
Now, I tell you, because again, what you've done and what you've accomplished, it's and again, the way the game has come up, especially with the female on the women's and ladies and girls side of things, this is a story that has to be told. I know that there were obviously some trailblazers before you, but obviously none who is more decorated and has more accomplished than what you've been able to do in your short lifetime.
Thank you very much, and it's been a privilege. It's been a privilege to play the game at the highest level, to have garnered as much as I've garnered wearing the USA flag on my back, and just representing all the institutions in which I represented, beginning with my mother. So, and University of Georgia, Cairo, and just trying to be the best that I could be. A lot of great things happen.
Teresa, when you look back and you bring your mother in, you speak about Cairo, Georgia, you stay humble. Now you're in New York, you're still doing great things. What can you basically tell a young lady from Cairo right now, if you could tell them, what do you have to do to be successful coming out of Cairo, Georgia?
I still work with young kids, and I work with young kids of this generation, and I find it very interesting to motivate them the same way that I've been motivated. I found it very different for them to be self-motivated the way you and I was. We grew up in an environment that, you did it because you wanted to. I mean, I actually stayed from the house and snuck away from my mother to try out for my first basketball team. So it was something that drove us. In the change in times, it's kind of hard for me to make kids understand the value of who they are. And I think what I would tell that young girl today is, stay looking deep within yourself, because if you don't know where it is you're trying to go, what it is you're trying to become is in there. And if you don't search hard enough, your gifts, your dreams, your hopes, your desires to become the best that you can be in whatever it is. And it's not one thing. Basketball has been a journey, and many roads and side roads and pathways I've taken has done more than just one basketball games. It's garnered a lifelong friendships, lifelong family members. It's just done amazing living. And I see that the gift of the game has extended me lifelines that I'd never seen coming. And if you do it the right way, in the way that you were born to do it, then you do it without fear. You do it you unapologetically live your life to the fullest. Then there's no looking back or looking to the left and right. You just continue. I mean, I'm the type that loves to talk to a stranger. I love to, pat a kid on the head and say, you can do better. Or, you're doing a great job. I don't, a perfect stranger would hear that from me. And I love that about myself. I love that I feel like I'm a child of the world, not just a child of Cairo, Georgia, or my mother. I feel like God has more intentions for me. And I would love for that light bulb to come on in all the kids and all the young ladies. And I would love for them to just, unapologetically live for their dreams, period.
If you're just joining us, we have with us the former University of Georgia two-time All-American. Of course, she is also the Wnba All-American, Hall of Famer. She's a Georgia Sports Hall of Famer, the Women's Sports Hall of Famer, and a whole lot of other accolades that the list is too long. But, in the last question that I'd like to ask you with regards to the young ladies in the AAU programs that they have now in the travel ball and all that good stuff, I just want to give you an opportunity to speak to those young coaches that are working with these young ladies, as well as the young ladies and their parents out there, as far as how to maximize or how to get the most out of what they're attempting to do with regards to getting better. So I know that they might not necessarily become Olympic gold medalists. They might not necessarily become a two-time All-American. They might not necessarily become a Hall of Famer. But what we want them to do is to get the best out of their abilities. And I want to give you just a few minutes here to speak to that.
Okay. Well, I think what's really important in my walk, when I talk to parents and meet young kids on the road, I love meeting them where they are. I don't feel like it's fair for us to dream the dreams for them. I don't think it's fair for us to try to recapture our life or something we missed through our kids. I do feel like that we have to meet them where they are, and understanding that we're not the definitive end of where they will end up. And that's a hard thing for us to do. When I work with kids in 3 or 4 years, I can't imagine that this high school kid will be in pro. I have to imagine that he'll be the best high schooler right now, equipped to make it to college, or she. And I think having that ability to assess them properly and allowing them to grow creatively within themselves, because what happened, in my opinion, what has happened is we've become too iconic. We want to be like someone else. And we weren't born to be like someone else. We were born to be our best selves. And I'm telling you, that's just my mantra, is to just teach them to be their greatest selves. And who are you? What kind of shooter are you? What kind of defensive player are you? All these character traits it takes to fight beyond the pain, the grind, all these character traits it takes for you to get up even when you don't want to get up and get to the gym. That's a character trait as the person that you are as well. And see that within yourself. And parents, respect that within your kids. Yes, we're supposed to motivate them, push them, provide for them, but we can't do it for them. So we can be the best example by doing that within ourselves. And I pride myself on trying to be the best example for them all the time. So my greatest advice is to nurture the growth, see them for who they are and where they are, and then continue to nurture the growth.
Well, Teresa, we're so proud of you. We love you, and we look forward to talking to you here in the near future.
Thank you very much, guys. Thanks for having me, and I love you all. Stay up. Stay well down there.
All right. That's Teresa Edwards, the Hall of Famer herself. I tell you what, we're going to go ahead and take the final break of today. You're listening to WRCG, and you're watching WCTV Beam. This is the Sports Visions Radio Show.
Hello,
Hello, everybody. I'm DJ Jones.
And I'm Dale Williams.
And we want to thank you for watching and listening to the Sports Visions radio show as well as the Sports Visions TV show. You can catch our radio show every Monday and Thursday from 4 to 6 o'clock on WRCG 92.1. We also have a free app. So you go to your app store, look up Sports Visions Radio, and you'll have it there.
And don't forget, you can always tune in to CTV Bean on Thursday at 8 p.m. for the Sports Visions TV show. Also on Friday mornings at 11 a.m. and on Saturday morning at 8 a.m. For the best in local, regional, and national sports, tune in to the Sports Visions TV show.